Hello. I'll wait a couple seconds to let other people join. Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. I'm just loving the fact that it's nice and sunny today and I have the sun right on my face. So, feeling good. Hope you guys are feeling good too. As you jump on, I would love to see if you can just wave, say a hi so I know who's on. Okay, I'll get started. So, I'm so excited to have you here today to discuss the concept of primary food, what it is, and how embracing the nourishing qualities of the primary food can actually add to your overall quality of life. So, the concept of primary food is based on the understanding that the food on our plate is not the only nourishment we need to live a healthy life. Oftentimes, we find ourselves, thinking a lot about what we are eating, how much we're eating, is it helping us lose weight? But that's not the only criteria for an overall healthy, balanced life. Consider what most of us cherish at the end of the day in our life. We cherish loving relationships, purpose, and pride in our accomplishments at the end of the day. These are all of the pieces that we often too often forget to prioritize. In the middle of everything else, we forget that this is what we actually crave for. So that's what we're going to be covering in today's topic. These elements that I'm going to be covering are not only important on their own, but if we are neglecting or we are somehow intentionally or unintentionally not adding them in our lives, we are actually creating an imbalance. For example, if you're having a hard time feeling satisfied in a particular area of your life, there are chances and you are going to be more inclined to eat in an unhealthy way or not feel good or get sick. So it's these other pieces that are critically important to consider when you're thinking about your overall well-being. So a lot of times people ask me, hey, I'm eating healthy meals, I'm working out, but I'm still not feeling good. So here is what's missing. You can eat healthy meals every day. You can spend hours at the gym every week. But if you're stuck in an unfulfilling relationship or a toxic relationship, an unfulfilling job, then you won't be able to feel truly healthy. I'm talking about the holistic health approach here. If one area of your life is not feeling good, where you're just feeling like there's a lot of stress coming from one or many areas of your life, you're not going to be feeling healthy overall. That's why I focus so much on the importance of primary food, and that's why we are here today. The foods that we actually eat, I call them secondary foods. Those foods are not primary because what really feeds us is this holistic balance that we are actually craving for. And the foods we consume are just the additional layer that keeps us going. So let's dive deep into what these primary foods are. Now, primary foods refers to all aspects of our lives that can nourish and help us be happy. Let's name a few. Some of them are regular physical movement, meaningful positive relationships, fulfilling work, following your personal passion, creativity, fun, and I would say, yeah, non-dietary forms of self-care. These are all elements of primary food. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to dive deeper into these areas and how we can actually focus a bit more on this in addition to eating right and moving. Okay, so the first one I'm going to dive into is the physical movement. Now, we all know the benefits of physical movement, right? But the most important benefit of this movement is to burn off stress. Okay, when you move, when you're physically active, you're actually burning off stress and you're maintaining a relaxed and healthy equilibrium. Think about it. Our bodies were made to made to stay active. Our ancestors, walked miles and miles for food, and they kept themselves active that way physically. Look at us now. We are sitting at a desk every day, nonstop for a couple of hours, and there is no structured level of activity, and sometimes there's no time to even fit that in. So what's all this inactivity actually doing to our health? It's making us more anxious, it's making us depressed, it's making us inflamed, and it's making us unhappy. So as I go along discussing about these different topics, I'll be posting, or I'll be sharing some questions, and I would love to get feedback on whoever's live and whoever joins later, watches a replay. Let me know what you think about these. So the first question I have for you guys is, what's your current exercise routine like? Feel free to share your answers here with the group, and trust me, there is no judgment here. This is the purpose behind this live, is to enable you to a point where you realize what you are missing and what can be improved on. So think about your current exercise routine, what it's like, and share your answers with the group. Okay. Now, another benefit, like I said, from from physical movement, is that obviously it helps you burn off stress. And what's the benefit of that? Sometimes what happens is stress can create an excess of hormones in your body and can put a lot of extra burden on your heart. So one of the best things you can give to your body is actually physical activity. How many times have we felt so stressed, but we've gone for an intense workout and we've come back feeling more relaxed? Hasn't that happened with you before? It has happened with me many times. In fact, sometimes if there are situations where stress is out of my control, I will just go walk or run or do some sort of yoga, and the level of stress just seems so much lesser. The burden from that stress seems so much lesser. So I'm sure it has happened with a lot of you. So let me know if that's something you've also come to realize, that physical movement does help you lower stress, and makes you feel much calmer and better. Some other benefits of exercise, we all know a lot of benefits, but I just want to highlight a few. Some of them, obviously it helps us, it helps keep you at a healthy weight. It lowers blood pressure, it strengthens our muscles, it stops or slows the development of diabetes, and it reduces inflammation. So there's a lot of benefits beyond just the outward appearance that we're trying to enhance through exercise. There are a lot of other benefits. So that's one key primary food you want to consider in addition to eating right. Okay. One important element of physical activity, it's one size doesn't fit everyone. Your idea of exercise might be very different from somebody else's. If your idea of exercising is dragging yourself to the gym and having a miserable workout, then it's time for you to revisit your regime, because that's definitely not making you happy. We are all built differently. Some people like a long distance run. Some people enjoy doing yoga. Some people enjoy a game of basketball. Some people like to do rounds of jump rope, right? There are different ways you can incorporate physical movement. I want you guys, whoever's on now, to take a moment to share with me in the comments what type of exercise you most enjoy doing. I'm not talking about exercise that'll make you lose weight. I'm talking about what is that activity that actually makes you feel happy, you enjoy the most. I'm not sure if I can see the comments, but think about it. What is something that you really enjoy, and let me know. The next primary food I'm going to talk about is relationships. Now, why are relationships important? We're all social animals. We crave connection. As humans, the relationship we form with others are so important to our mental and emotional well-being. And to a certain extent, it's important for our survival. We all have this inherent desire to be close to other people, to build relationships, and to get connected. If, though, the most important point here is that if we are not currently able to develop and nourish these relationships in a way that bring comfort and meaning, then it can be, or it could be, causing a lot of stress on your body and mind. This is a very important element when you look at your overall health. If this If this area of your life is you're struggling with this area of your life, then 100% your health is also struggling. So look into your relationships. I'm going to give you some prompts in a few on how you can analyze what relationships you're in, and are they even contributing towards good health for you. Okay, you have to find what works for you. There is no one way to have a relationship or connection with someone. Some people like to connect, over the phone. Some people feel like they don't have their social needs met until they've had a face-to-face connection. Sometimes you may feel you're very needy in, and you want more out of a relationship. And if that's the case, then it's time to face the fact that some people just don't require or don't reciprocate the type of relationship elements and boundaries that you need. Our way of communication may not match the other person's way of communication, and their way of responding may be different than yours. So it's very important to take a step back and look at that in a way that will help you move forward and not get you stuck. So remember, everyone is different and their social needs are different as well. So to get the most from this area of the primary food, surround yourself with people who obviously listen to you, communicate openly without judgment, relationships in which you can trust and respect one another, relationships that make time for loved ones, relationships that remember details about each other's lives, relationships that help each other engage in healthy activities together. Now, here's the question for you. I want you to think about your daily, weekly, and monthly connections. What kind of connections do you have? Do you feel as though your needs for connection are being met? Do you wish you could spend more time with people? And the third question I have is, do you feel like you spend too much time with the wrong people? So think about your daily, weekly, and monthly connections and ask yourself, do you feel like your needs are being met through these connections? Do you think or wish you could spend more time with people? And the third one is, do you feel like you spend too much time with the wrong people? Take some time to think about this. And if anybody has any, responses already, I'm sorry, I'm not able to see the chat. So I will take a look at it in a few. But take this time, guys, to think about this, because these are very crucial elements that contribute towards a healthy life. The next point I wanted to cover was, bow out of toxic relationships. Obviously, relationships that need to be worked on should be worked on, but if there are relationships that are unnecessarily causing a lot of conflict and stress for you, it's important to revisit and bow out of them. Take a moment now to think about the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who are the 5 people that you spend most time with? And this could be, people from your family as well. Who do you spend the most time with? And ask yourself these 2 questions. How does it feel to be around each of these people? How does it feel to be around each of these people? Second question you want to ask is there anyone in your immediate circle who makes you feel stressed or uncomfortable? Is there anyone in your immediate circle that makes you feel stressed or uncomfortable? Think about 5 people you spend most time with and answer those 2 questions. Again, a very important self-reflection point so that you can realize how much of your energy is being given to people and connections that probably shouldn't matter or you shouldn't be giving that much time to. So, important prompts. Take the time to reflect on this, guys. I'll pose these questions as well, but for now, just note them down. So we've covered movement, we've covered relationships. The third element I want to cover here is your career, okay? Overall, how do you feel with your current profession? Do you feel defeated? Do you feel tired after a day of work? Or do you feel energized and excited? Be honest with yourself. How do you really feel about, the work you're doing? And share your thoughts in the comments. And what you will share here, guys, will stay here. It's not going to go anywhere. So feel free to share your views and be honest. Think about it. We are spending about 8 to 10 hours on an average, 5 days a week at work. That's a lot of time that we're dedicating to something, especially if you don't like it or not interested or fulfilled by it. If you don't enjoy your work and yet you're spending a majority of your time thinking about and doing your job, you're likely not having a healthy, balanced life. I am an example of that. I worked in IT for about 12 or 13 years, and it was a great job that I had, great career. But after a certain point, there was a sort of dissatisfaction and desire for change. Let's put it that way. And not the time in between where I was stuck in that position of not being able to figure out what I wanted to do, and the time that I quit. That time in between, I think is really hard, and somebody that's going through it understands what it is, where you feel stuck, you want to do, but you're not able to give your 100%, and it just creates a lot of stress on the body, unhealthy eating, no time for anything in terms of working out, relationships, and so on. So it is a hard time, but the moment you're able to correct that, trust me, your body and mind gets so relaxed that it's able to do the right thing at the right time. So think about this particular piece I'm covering about your job or your career. Is it really helping you stay healthy, or is it causing a lot of stress in your life? Technology and our ability to work from home is both a blessing and a curse, I feel. While it's nice to have freedom, right, to work from home, it's getting harder for us to separate our professional life from our personal life. It's not easy. I think there are more downsides to it than benefits. So another question I have for you is, how do you cultivate and stick with a healthy work-life balance for yourself? How do you cultivate and stick with a healthy work-life balance? Do you experience anxiety when you don't check your emails on the weekend? Do you often put off your relationships or personal events, social outings, so that you can work? I was one of them. No, not anymore. But I was one of them, where work was always a priority. My phone was constantly being looked at, checked, emails were refreshed, anything new on weekends, having meetings randomly added to my calendar for like early Monday AM. And there was a lot of constant pressure on being there 24/7, basically. So are you someone who is in that boat where you're constantly checking your emails on weekends, where you're not able to disconnect from work? I'm sure there are people in the group that feel that way. The next element I want to cover is spirituality, spiritual nutrition. Would you consider yourself to be a spiritual person? Let me know. We'll cover what it means to be spiritual, but would you consider yourself to be a spiritual person? Let me know in the comments, guys. So now let's define spirituality. Spirituality is basically a tool for coping with stress by restoring hope and optimism in the bigger picture of life. At its core, spiritual nutrition is something that basically feeds us deeply and helps diminish cravings for the superficial rewards like money, fame, power, other things that are more materialistic in our lives. Okay, so spiritual nutrition is another very important element of uh, primary foods. We all are searching for meaning in our lives. The journey of discovering that meaning can take many, many years, and sometimes it can take us a lifetime to even know what it is. Uh, Another important point I want to mention here is that faith and spirituality aren't mutually exclusive. Okay, if you don't fall in line with a particular religion, you can still be spiritual. For some people, spirituality might mean having a connection with nature that basically makes them realize that they're just a fragment here on this earth. Okay, they're a fragment of life. To someone else, spirituality might mean having some confidence in the universe, in the source, in karma, in a better future. So overall, in short, finding something that makes you feel hopeful can be enough to cover the spiritual needs in terms of primary food. Just being hopeful, having the trust, having the faith in something better, and something bigger in the in the uh, bigger scheme of things. Having that hope and trust is what is being spiritual, at least for me. So, and the last point, guys, I want to cover is um, the playfulness aspect of primary foods. Make some time for your inner child. When was the last time you let yourself loose and took on the persona of your inner child? When was the last time you maybe went on a swing or a slide, or you dressed up with your children, or did something so ridiculous that a child would do and you would laugh at that child? So when was the last time you did that? That's again a very, very important part of our lives that makes us whole, happy, and healthy. I'm bummed that I cannot see the messages, but maybe I'll try to log in from my computer and see. So yeah, let me know. Did you engage in some sort of playfulness, childlike activity recently, or do you do that often? I do. So I want to know what you guys do. Is that something you do, enjoy, or you need to actually carve out time to start doing it? Let me know, guys. So I just want to summarize, I would say, all these pieces that I just covered. So primary foods are foods beyond the food on your plate. These are things that nourish us and make us happy. And what are these different primary foods? We covered physical movement. We covered connections, relationships, right? We covered spirituality. We covered being able to explore your inner child, and we covered career. So these are some of the elements that, if you start to balance in your life, a lot of your health issues, a lot of your emotional issues will start to rectify on their own. But yes, it does require you to pay attention and for you to be aware that if these areas are out of balance. That's the key. You need to be aware if these areas are out of balance. And that's why I'm covering this very important topic, guys, for you to be able to start to think about it, and for you to be able to start to notice and then make it shift. If you don't know what you have to shift, it's hard to shift. So I'm trying to create this awareness for you, and for you to give you these tools and prompts in terms of these questions, so you can start to come face to face and become honest with yourself. Are these really in place for you, or are these out of place, and how you can start to create a balance? So let me see if I can see any questions. Does anybody have any questions, comments? I would love to hear. As the information sinks in, please don't hesitate to send me questions that may come up. I'm always here to help. This has been my personal journey where I have turned a lot of these aspects of my life, and I've noticed the benefits. So I would love for you to also own these areas and balance these areas in addition to eating right. All right, guys. I want to thank everyone that joined today and everyone that will be watching the replay. I hope you found this helpful. And there are a lot of topics on my mind that I want to share and hopefully, bring awareness and change in your lives in a positive way. So be on a lookout for, invites in the future where I'll cover different topics. Feel free to let me know if there are any specific topics you want me to cover, whether it's food, whether it is exercise, whether it's mindset, whether it's emotions, whether it's just the holistic way of living that I promote. I would love to share my thoughts and give you my input. So have a great rest of the day, everybody. Thank you for joining. Bye.